What's up, guys? Today we're talking about drum care. I need to change my tom heads, so that's what we're going to do. First, I'm going to loosen all the tension rods so I can take the rim off. Then I'm going to remove the rim, and I kind of try to do as best as I can to just leave the tension rods in there, just so I don't lose any of them or any of the washers. And it just kind of makes it easier to get it back in place. So I try to set it down somewhere where they won't fall off. Did you see all that? That's what happens when you're playing so hard all the time. These moon gels are gonna go too. I don't know if you can see the dents and stuff, and you can see this is all wearing out. So it was definitely time for a new head. Now I would recommend tipping this upside down, hitting on it to get all the sawdust that you saw there. There's a bunch more in here. I try to do it over the trash can if I can, so I'm going to do that. Now that I've knocked some dust out of it, try to just take a dry cloth and wipe down the edge to get any gunk that might be in there, any dust or anything. Might as well dust off all of this while I'm at it. All right, now that it's all dusted off, I'm going to get the new head out. Look at the heads first to make sure there's no outstanding dents or anything, or to see if it's warped, which it looks like it's pretty decent. Now if you can see where it's connected right here, this little seam, try to put in the middle of two lugs just so it's evenly distributed. Now I'm going to put the rim back on. First I'm going to wipe down the rim, get any dust or anything that might be stuck up in there. Make sure it sits flush on the edge of the drum. Plus, how often do you dust it anyway? You know? Now I just line it up, and I go through and I just hand tighten for now all the lugs. And then I usually just push down, get some of the excess air out while I'm finishing up the hand tightening. Then I just go to opposite lugs, and I try to turn them each about the same amount. And you can kind of just judge by how much tension. Really not bad right off the bat. A lot of resonance though, which I just tend to use a lot of moon gels to get rid of. To fine tune it, I go back and forth to opposite lugs. I find whatever pitch that I seem to like the most. I really like my toms tuned low, and then I match the pitch that I like to each lug as I'm tightening it. That's how you tune it, basically. I'm going to change both the heads, and then I'll come back later and actually hit them with sticks as a fine tune, and then I'll put my moon gels on to get rid of that excess resonance. Check the bottom here. Now to do the floor tom. Same thing with this. I'm gonna loosen all of the lugs, take the rim off, take the head off. Same thing with this. I'm gonna just set this aside for now. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this, where I'm going to tip it upside down. I'm going to hit it to try to get all the dust out of it, but I'm going to do it over the trash. And again, I'm going to wipe down the edge of the drum itself and kind of just dust off any of the other lugs if needed. Now, before I put the head on this one, I'm going to go through and I'm going to tighten all of these. Just because they get loose over time, obviously you're hitting it, and I tend to beat the heck out of my drums, especially the floor tom when I'm hitting it. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to tighten all of those. Might as well, since I already have the head off. Now with this one, I'm actually going to replace the leg bracket, I guess you call it. This kit I bought in 2004 or 2005, so it's 20 years old. As you can see, it was all black hardware. On 2 of the legs, it was stripped out on the inside and on the actual wing nut itself. So I only bought 2 because they were kind of expensive. And those are the ones I needed, and it ended up working, so I bought a 3rd one, and now that I have the head off, I might as well replace that too. Leg bracket. Now they all match. For my toms, I use Evans EC2 clears that have the overtone control, is what they call it, even though I use the Moon gels anyway. I get the EC2 too, is in 2-ply. Take a look at it, make sure there's no dents, make sure it's not warped or anything. This one looks okay. Find the seam, line up the seam, put the rim back on. Down on the middle, create an air seal on like the whole edge. Make sure it's all hand tightened. Then I go around with the drum key, opposite sides, giving it all even tension, just a little bit to start with. Slowly get the head acclimated, stretching out. And what I'm doing right now is I'm looking to see if there's like any wrinkles near certain lugs. It probably just, that lug just needs to be tightened up a little bit. Now it's already way too high, but I'm gonna check the bottom first before I go any further. The duct tape is on there just to kill any extra overtones or resonance. Now it's tuned way too high for me, so I'm gonna back it off a little bit. Like I said, I like them tuned really low. So it's basically just past hand. Not bad. And then we'll put on the Moon gels and start really hitting it. We'll tweak it some more and then we'll be good to go. Alright, now that we got the new heads on, got them side by side, we're going to fine tune them. I'm going to start with the rack tom first. Pretty high. Now they're pretty big, so with this I'm going to cut one of them in half. And it seems excessive, but the result is pretty good. Now I'm going to tune the floor tom with the rack tom in mind. Kind of like that. Throw some Moon gels on there. Pretty good together though. I think we're done.